Hey YouTube, Public Piper here, and today's adventure is going to be with Haunted Bookshop. So I'm going to take you to 3 different venues, like last time, and I'm going to smoke a bowl at each of those 3 places. Unlike last time though, I'm going to share some personal stories today. I realize I've been playing it safe, haven't really been telling you guys anything about me or who I am. So I'm going to mingle in a few funny stories from my past, from my childhood. And the first story I'm going to share with you is how Scooby-Doo ruined my childhood, believe it or not. But we're almost here, so I will see you in a minute. Okay, so this is the first bowl of the day. Got some Haunted Bookshop in here. This is one of my neglected pipes. This is my Peterson Killarney. So just lit it up about 2 minutes ago. It's about 12:30. I've been at this for about 2.5 hours trying to find a good place to start today, but there was construction and like beeping crosswalks, so I got really delayed. So I don't know if I'm going to make it to 3 places today, but I tried. So this is number 1. I had breakfast about an hour ago, so I can definitely take some Haunted Bookshop this early in the morning. This produces a lot of smoke, as you can tell. So as promised, I wanted to share a little story today about how Scooby-Doo ruined my childhood. So I grew up in a small town in Indiana, and the name of the town was Harlan, or it was nearby Harlan. And growing up, one of my favorite cartoons was Scooby-Doo, and as I'm sure you know, they had guest stars that would come in or be portrayed, like Phyllis Diller, the Harlem Globetrotters, other celebrities that I can't think of right now. But my favorite kind of guest celebrity or guest star was the Harlem Globetrotters. And the reason why I liked it so much, number 1, I thought they were cool, and number 2, I thought they were from my town. Now I was like 7 or 8 at the time. So I just knew I was from Harlan, and I thought they were the Harlem Globetrotters. And you know, this is a small town, it's kind of a 1-stoplight town. And we had a cousin come and stay with us one time, and I forget where they were from at the time, but you know, this is a guy in his teenage years, so he was bored out of his mind coming to my small town. And on the 2nd or 3rd day, he started actually complaining about it, you know, saying, you know, we're living in the country, there's nothing to do. And I kind of got offended, and I started defending my town. And he's like, well, what do you like about this place? And I said, well, it's just cool, you know, we got this, we got that, you can do this, there's animals in our backyard, we got 4-wheelers, you know, it's kind of the upside of country living. And at the very end, I said, and we have the Harlem Globetrotters. And he looked at me like I was insane. And he said, you know, that's the Harlem Globetrotters, not the Harlem Globetrotters. And the look in my face, you know, it probably looked like I was going to cry, because my world just fell apart at that time. You know, I was like 7 or 8, and I really thought that team was from my town. Now, I didn't actually compute all the logic of, like, you know, why would such an internationally famous team be from a 1-stop sign town? But I just didn't really question it. I just thought they were. And so when he told me that, it was kind of like someone telling you that Santa Claus doesn't exist. It was crushing. I had lived under this fantasy that my town was on the map. You know, we were famous for one thing. We had the Harlem Globetrotters. And then I realized we didn't. So I probably was depressed for like 2 or 3 days. I vowed never to watch the show again. That probably lasted about a week, because I love that show. But you know, every time I see a reference of Scooby-Doo, I remember that moment, because it was actually more crushing for me than finding out Santa Claus wasn't real. Because I had a lot of hometown pride. I always had a lot of pride in where I came from. So anyway, that's a story about my childhood. Hope you got a good laugh out of that one. Coffee? Yes. Can I dump this out somewhere?
Sure.
It's so cold. Yeah.
It's cold out here. That might be why. Gosh, how can you sit out here?
So my waiter thinks I'm crazy for sitting out here, but the videos must go on. absolute nightmare. Look at this smoke. It's beautiful smoke. I guess a little bit of that is steam. But. So when I read the reviews online of Haunted Bookshop, it gets about a 2.5, and there's a lot of reviews out there. And if I had to compare this to a movie or a famous actor or actress, which is kind of how I think of everything, I would call Haunted Bookshop the Katherine Heigl of tobaccos. So what do I mean by that? Well, Katherine Heigl is someone who gets beaten up a lot in the press. She's had one or two good movies, but it's had a lot of bombs as well. But more than anything, I guess you'd call her kind of an acquired taste. There's a small subset of the population that thinks she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and there's a majority of critics out there and reporters that just think she should quit. So when I looked at the reviews in the dividedness of 20 plus reviews, a bunch of 4s, a bunch of 1s, not a whole lot in the middle, that's what that's who this tobacco reminds me of. The one thing I can say about Haunted Bookshop is, compared to last Saturday, where I smoked 3 bowls of Old Joel Krantz over the course of a day, this is actually a lot easier. It doesn't have nearly as much perique, and it's just smoother. Maybe just a little bit more.
You want me to dump this one out?
No, you can just add it to
Sure?
that, yeah. I'm getting highly caffeinated at this point.
There you go.
I think it's warmed up a half a degree.
Yeah, you're being in the shade. If you was in the sun, it might warm up a bit more.
So I'm on my second bowl of Haunted Bookshop, and I'm really happy because I just discovered this new venue with great outdoor seating right in the sun. So this is going to be a place I'm going to enjoy shooting at in the spring and the summer. Of course, as luck would have it, as soon as I sat down, I realized there's a band practicing in the building right next to me. So I had to bust out the lapel mic here in order to even make a legible recording. Because I've been trying to deal with all the logistics, I haven't really been able to focus on the tobacco yet. I'm about 4 hours into the day, but I'm going to lean back. I'm going to spend a good hour here, experience this bowl, and just relax. I finally found a good place. The sun's in my face. I had some great coffee. I have a Java Porter in front of me, which has kind of been the winter go-to for me, just by chance. I haven't been looking for it, but everywhere I go, that's what they recommend. So it seems to go well with the hard-hitting tobacco. The last restaurant I was at, right before I left, I was starting to think of Old Joe Krantz from last weekend, comparing it to Haunted Bookshop. And it's not really much of a comparison. Old Joe Krantz is really spicy. This is really, in comparison, very tame, very mellow. Although still very, still very cigarette-y in its taste. It's definitely a raw tobacco type of taste. But the name of the venue was Mandolin. And I compared this one to Katherine Heigl. And I was trying to think, well, what would I compare Old Joe Krantz to in terms of an actor? And when I looked at that mandolin, I started thinking of Captain Corleone's Mandolin, which is actually a horrible movie. Or a bad movie. Nicolas Cage was in it. And I started thinking of, those pops of spice and pepperiness from last weekend. Kind of reminds me of Nicolas Cage, because in almost every other movie, he gives the crazy eyes. And every once in a while, after every draw or so, every couple draws, Old Joe Krantz was kind of making me take a step back and kind of making me open my eyes. Kind of like Nicolas Cage. So don't see that movie, but if you're smoking old Joe Krantz and you get the big eyes, don't be surprised. That's probably what it's going to do to you. So it looks like somebody left their flour on. I hate when that happens. So I'm now smoking these side by side. I have Sunday Picnic in this pipe, and I have Haunted Bookshop in this pipe. And to my amazement, they're actually very, very similar. Now, Sunday Picnic has no burley in it whatsoever, so you wouldn't think it would be very similar to Haunted Bookshop, but they really are. Part of that could be the fact that I've already had 2 bowls of Haunted Bookshop, but if I go back and forth, I can taste the difference. If I was blindfolded, I would definitely be able to tell one is different than the other. But if you ask me which one I prefer, it'd be a close tie. To be honest with you, I'd probably reach for the Haunted Bookshop. And Sunday Picnic's one of my favorites, so that is surprising. I really go back and forth though because they are so close. I think it's the Turkish in Sunday Picnic that makes it very similar to the Haunted Bookshop. Kind of adds this rawness to it. Maybe it's the Turkish Izmir that kind of is an imitation burley or masks itself as a burley. It's really close. Today is the first day that I actually caught myself saying that this is hard work. I'm about 5 hours into it now, and just the logistics has been really challenging today, more so than other days. One reason I like making these videos, though, is that you really get to play a lot of different roles. You get to play screenwriter, kind of write out kind of a high-level script of what you want to say before you shoot. You get to kind of be a director and kind of lay out the storyboard of what you're going to shoot the next day or an hour before. You get to play cinematographer and think of the angles that you want to shoot. You get to play editor at the end and piece it all together. You get to play audio engineer and use different microphones. And then you get to play public relations at the very end, responding to comments. So it's definitely kind of an end-to-end, A to Z type of role. And although it's hard work, that's what I really enjoy. It's a creative challenge. So I just finished up my 3rd bowl of Haunted Bookshop. I also finished the bowl just one flake of Sunday Picnic. They were very close. I enjoyed both. I smoked them both to the end. I'm going to pan around just so you can see this place close up. It's definitely one of the more challenging places I've shot before, just because all the tables are so close to each other. But that's one thing I want to do this year, is to make videos in more crowded places than I've ever done before. It's kind of pushed me a little bit as well. So I'm going to be back here on warm days and when it warms up, and kind of excited about that. Out of all the challenges I've had today logistically, including dogs and construction and bands and whatnot, this has kind of been the high point for today so far, just kind of finding this place with an awesome view of the city. So I'm going to be back here pretty soon, and yeah, it's going to push me. But over the course of the day, I don't think I've really given Haunted Bookshop a fair shot, because I've been kind of preoccupied with finding good places to shoot. So I'm going to take you to one more place, a place I can relax, probably indoors, and really give my final comments on the tobacco.
He liked apple something. I remember it was apple.
The flavored tobaccos, probably, yeah? Okay. Does he still do it? He gave it.
He's 72.
He gave it up.
Yeah.
Or he quit, I should say.
He gave a lot up. Yeah.
Okay.
My dad was a country doctor. Country doctor.
Are you guys brothers?
No.
Oh, okay.
My dad would do the country doctor tobacco.
It's like a drugstore blend, or?
Yeah, pretty basic.
Okay.
He was a doctor. He was a country doctor. So
He was a country doctor.
But
Okay.
he smoked country doctor.
Are you serious?
Tobacco country doctor. Yeah.